Larry Cuban shares a vision of change which involves sparking a light of understanding deeply rooted for those who will ultimately engage in the implementation. Change can be described in two ways. First-order change and/or incremental change is doing a little more or less of what we already do, always making sure that we know that these changes are reversible. Using a car metaphor such as Cuban does, incremental change would be like changing the tire, the spark plugs, or other routine maintenance. The other type of change, second order or fundamental change, is like deciding or being forced to do something significantly or fundamentally different from what we have done before. This process is irreversible. Once you begin it, it's impossible to return to the way you were doing things before. Again, with the car metaphor, a fundamental change would be at the point you have to purchase a new vehicle, as it would cost too much to replace the one that you have. Higher rates of success with change occur when those most involved are included in planning for both incremental and fundamental change. Tinkering is a term used by Cuban in reference to how we implement incremental changes. For every book on the shelf, there is a strategy or technique that schools will jump on wholeheartedly to implement. From technology to group work to differentiated instruction, in education we jump on all of these innovations of change. The reason Cuban asserts our changes in education don't last are threefold. One, they're up to the interpretation of the teacher. Hence, with all of the training, we still have teachers who close their door and do it their own way. And secondly, if we do not include the implementers in the decision-making, they may take a fundamental change like an engineering curriculum and marginalize it to a smaller specialized population such as a charter school or a magnet program. The No Child Left Behind Act is a fundamental change that may begin to look like an incremental change due to the lack of funding and guidance. But driven by the third reason, change efforts fail. It is driven fully by forces outside of the problems in education. It represents the social will of change for public education as opposed to the thought-out, data-driven needs for change that educators might cite. In closing, according to Cuban, lasting educational change will come in the form of some shared vision for moving forward using small steps of successfully sustained incremental change, building towards fundamental changes that can be carried out by those charged to work with students on a daily basis.